Tonight, before you close your eyes, take a moment to become still. Let the noise of the day fade away. You may have carried worries, disappointments, unanswered questions, responsibilities, and battles that nobody else knows about. But you do not have to carry them into the night. This is your moment to release them into the hands of God. Father, tonight I come before you with an open heart. I do not come pretending that I have everything together. I come exactly as I am. You know my thoughts, you know my struggles, you know the things that have made me tired, and you know the prayers I have been unable to put into words. Nothing about me is hidden from you. Tonight, I choose to trust you with everything. There comes a moment at the end of the day when you have to make a decision. Will you continue carrying everything in your mind, or will you place it into the hands of God? The night is not the time to solve every problem, answer every question, or figure out every detail of tomorrow. The night can become a sacred opportunity to surrender. You have done what you could today. You have carried responsibilities, faced conversations, made decisions, endured challenges, and perhaps fought battles that nobody else saw. Now, God is inviting you to release what you cannot control and rest in His presence. Sometimes we think surrender means giving up, but surrendering your worries to God is not weakness. It is an expression of faith. It means recognizing that God sees what you cannot see and understands what you cannot understand. You may not know how a difficult situation will change, when an unanswered prayer will receive an answer, or why certain doors have closed. Yet you can still choose to trust the one who knows the beginning, the middle, and the end. When you place your worries before Him, you are saying, Lord, I cannot carry this by myself anymore. I trust you to carry what is too heavy for me. There may be thoughts that keep returning when everything becomes quiet. A financial concern, a family problem, a painful memory, a difficult decision, or uncertainty about the future can become louder when you are lying in bed. Your mind may begin creating scenarios that have not even happened. You may replay conversations and wonder what you should have said. You may think about tomorrow and imagine everything that could go wrong. But tonight, you can interrupt that cycle with prayer. Instead of allowing fear to become the loudest voice in your mind, allow God's promises to become louder. Tell God exactly what is troubling you. You do not need perfect words. You do not need a long prayer. Speak honestly. Tell Him where you are tired. Tell Him what you fear. Tell Him what you do not understand. Tell Him what you wish could change. God does not need you to hide your emotions from Him. He already knows your heart. Prayer becomes powerful when you stop pretending that you are strong enough to handle everything alone and begin trusting God's strength. Resting in God's presence also means releasing the demand to have immediate answers. We often want God to explain everything before we can feel peaceful. Yet faith sometimes means having peace before having an explanation. You can go to sleep without knowing exactly how tomorrow will unfold. You can rest without knowing how every problem will be solved. You can close your eyes knowing that God remains in control while you rest. Think about how much energy worry consumes. Worry can drain your attention, disturb your peace, and make you exhausted before the next day even begins. When you surrender your worries, you are not pretending that your problems do not exist. You are simply refusing to let those problems become your master. You are placing them where they belong, in God's hands. Tonight, imagine placing every burden before God one by one. Place your family in His hands. Place your finances in His hands. Place your future in His hands. Place your health, relationships, responsibilities, dreams, disappointments, and unanswered questions in His hands. You do not have to keep picking them back up after you have surrendered them. When your mind tries to return to the same fear, gently remind yourself, I have already given this to God. There is something powerful about becoming still before God. The world may demand your attention all day, but nighttime gives you an opportunity to quiet the distractions and remember who is truly sustaining you. You are not alone in the room. God's presence is not limited to a church building or a particular hour of the day. He is with you in your quiet moments, in your uncertainty, in your tears, and in your deepest need for peace. Perhaps you have been strong for everyone else today. Perhaps people depended on you, and you felt that you could not show how tired you really were. Tonight, you do not have to perform. You can simply be still. You can breathe deeply, close your eyes, and remember that your identity is not determined by how much you accomplish. You are not valuable because you solved every problem today. Your worth does not disappear when you feel weak. God sees you beyond your productivity and loves you beyond your performance. Let tonight become a reminder that God is still working even when you are resting. You do not have to stay awake trying to manage every outcome. There are things God can handle while you sleep. There are doors He can open without your effort. There are situations He can change without your intervention. There are battles He can fight without you exhausting yourself. Your responsibility is to trust Him, remain faithful, and take the next step when He gives you the strength and wisdom to do it. As you prepare to sleep, allow your heart to become quiet. Forgive yourself for what you could not accomplish today. Release the mistakes you made. Ask God for wisdom to do better tomorrow. Then let today remain in the past. You cannot change yesterday by worrying about it tonight. You can only surrender it and trust that God's grace is greater than your failures. Close your eyes knowing that you do not need to carry tomorrow tonight. Tomorrow will arrive when it is time. When it does, God's grace will meet you there. For now, breathe, pray, release, and rest. Let your final thoughts tonight be thoughts of faith rather than fear, trust rather than anxiety, and God's presence rather than uncertainty. You are allowed to rest because God is still God while you sleep. Tonight, before you close your eyes, remember that you are not entering the night alone. God is with you, and His presence does not disappear when the lights go out. You may not know what tomorrow will bring, but you can know the one who holds tomorrow. When you trust God's protection, you are choosing to stop allowing fear to determine how you rest. You are choosing to believe that your life is under His care even when you cannot see what is happening around you. There are moments when the mind becomes vulnerable at night. The distractions of the day become quiet, and suddenly every concern seems louder. You may think about your family, your responsibilities, your future, or something that happened earlier in the day. Fear may tell you that you need to stay alert because something could go wrong. Faith reminds you that God never stops watching over you. You can rest without knowing every detail because God's awareness is greater than yours. Protection does not always mean that you will never experience difficulty. Sometimes God's protection appears through wisdom, guidance, closed doors, unexpected help, or strength to endure a difficult season. There may be things God protects you from that you never even realized happened. There may be dangers you never saw and opportunities you never knew were being redirected. This is why faith cannot depend only on what your eyes can see. You can trust God's care even when you do not understand His methods. Tonight, place your home before God. Place every person you love into His hands. Pray for peace over your household and wisdom for every person under your care. Ask God to guard your hearts from fear, your minds from destructive thoughts, and your lives from unnecessary danger. Instead of imagining everything that could go wrong, begin remembering everything God has already carried you through. Think about the times you thought you would not make it, yet somehow you did. Remember the doors that closed and later made sense. Remember the moments when help came at exactly the right time. Remember the strength you received when you thought you had none left. Your history with God can become evidence for your faith in the future. If He has carried you through yesterday, you can trust Him with tonight and tomorrow. When you wake in the morning, do not wake up believing that you must face everything through your own strength. Wake up with renewed faith. Before reaching for your phone, before checking messages, before allowing the demands of the day to enter your mind, take a moment to acknowledge God. Thank Him for another morning. Thank Him for another opportunity. Thank Him for life, breath, strength, and the chance to begin again. A new morning is a reminder that yesterday does not have to control today. You may have failed yesterday, but God's mercy gives you another opportunity. You may have been discouraged yesterday, but today can begin with hope. You may have faced rejection, disappointment, or uncertainty, but none of those things have the authority to determine what God can do next in your life. Renewed faith begins when you change the way you approach the day. Instead of waking up immediately thinking about everything that needs to be fixed, wake up remembering who is with you. Instead of asking, how will I handle all of this? Ask, God, how do you want me to walk through this? That small change can transform your perspective. You are no longer approaching the day as someone abandoned to circumstances. You are approaching it as someone who believes that God can provide wisdom, strength, and direction. There will still be challenges. Faith does not promise that every morning will be easy. Faith gives you a different foundation when difficulty arrives. You can face an uncomfortable conversation without losing your peace. You can face uncertainty without surrendering to panic. You can face responsibilities without believing that everything depends entirely on you. You can move forward knowing that God's presence goes with you. Tonight, ask God to prepare your heart for tomorrow. Ask Him to remove unnecessary fear and replace it with confidence. Ask Him to help you recognize the opportunities He places before you. Ask Him to give you discernment so you know which doors to walk through and which ones to leave behind. Ask Him to help you speak words that bring encouragement, make decisions with wisdom, and respond to difficulties with patience. Your morning does not have to begin with pressure. It can begin with prayer. You can take a few quiet moments to breathe, become still, and remind yourself that you belong to God. Let your first thoughts be centered on gratitude and trust. Before the world tells you what to worry about, allow God to remind you what is true. If you wake during the night with anxious thoughts, do not immediately assume that something is wrong. Use that moment as an invitation to pray. Whisper God's name. Thank Him for His presence. Release the thought that is troubling you. Then return your attention to His peace. You do not have to solve a problem at 3 in the morning. Some things can wait until daylight. As you lie down tonight, let your heart become peaceful, because you know that God is watching over you. You have prayed, you have surrendered, and now you can rest. When morning comes, rise with renewed faith. Do not carry the darkness of yesterday into the light of a new day. Let your first step be a step of trust. Let your first thought be a thought of gratitude. Let your first words be words of prayer. You may not know what tomorrow holds, but you can enter it with confidence because God is already there. You may not know which challenges will appear, but you can trust that grace will meet you when they do. You may not know how every prayer will be answered, but you can continue believing that God hears you. Sleep tonight under the assurance of His care, and when morning arrives, rise with a heart that is stronger, calmer, and more hopeful. Your circumstances may not have changed overnight, but your perspective can change. You can wake up remembering that you are not facing life alone, that God's presence remains with you, and that every new day is another opportunity to walk forward in faith. Tonight, I place my life completely into your hands. Let your presence remain with me through the night. Let your peace surround me. Let your love cover me. Let your angels guard me according to your will. And when morning comes, let me rise with renewed strength, renewed hope, and renewed faith. I will sleep because you are with me. I will rest because you are faithful. I will release my worries because you are greater than everything that concerns me. Father, this night belongs to you. My home belongs to you. My family belongs to you. My future belongs to you. My dreams belong to you. My fears belong to you. And my life belongs to you. I trust you tonight. I rest in your presence tonight. And I believe that tomorrow will be another opportunity to walk with you, trust you, and experience your goodness. In Jesus' name, amen.